Hello, hello. Happy Wednesday, February 18th, 2026. Yes, I am wearing the purple apron. Something in there? It'd be hilarious if there was something in here. A pen or something. I better check. I haven't worn it in a while. Hello, Gabriel. How are you doing? Gary, Russell. Am I feeling better? Yeah, I'm like 80, 75 to 80% today. Um, I can definitely tell when you feel like you take the Dayquil and you go, okay, I'm feeling okay, and then it starts to, I don't need to take it anymore, and then it starts to wear off, and and then you go, yeah, no, that was a terrible idea. Purple Apron Wednesday, yeah. So just in case my mother-in-law tunes in, Doris, this one's for you. I still have it. You made it for me a long time ago. Good afternoon, Hans. I might not be feeling 100%, but I'm very stylish. I mean, why not? Why not? It's got a little purple and blue. I don't know what's going on here, but all right. Let's see. What is cooking today? Lamy Pine, Lamy Flamingo just flew in. See what I did there? Just flew in today. Just got them. I'm a little frustrated with how certain manufacturers package things. But I guess I shouldn't complain. I won't complain. But Lamy Pine, I haven't even looked at it. Literally, it took me half an hour to sort it out and get it on the website. If you had signed up for a back in stock notification for that, you'll be getting a notification very shortly if you haven't already. Mechanical pencils, which I always liked the Lamy mechanical pencils. I thought they were kind of fun. Roller balls, ballpoints, the whole shebang. You hope you had I hope that you had your microscope ready to read the labels on Lamy pens. I'm just, I used to get them. I've said this before, and I'm just gonna complain until something happens. I think they used to send them to me in flats, and then I could stack the flats, and then all the boxes were separate. And every time I order now, since Uniball took over, I ask for flats and boxes separate, and they never send them. So I get a box today, and it's like all. I mean, the labels are marginally better, but they've also changed all the SKUs. So all the SKUs used to be, they start with L for Lamy and whatever, and you could kind of make it out and you could figure it out. And now they're 7-digit numbers, 401 140 whatever. The font size is a little bit bigger, so it's marginally easier to read. But I don't. I want it in a flat. Like, you don't get them from Lamy that way in Germany. I can't believe for a second that you get them that way. I mean, the old distributor never got them that way. Why would they change? Like, well, you got somebody in the warehouse picking these things out of the slaughter trays and putting them in a box. Like, you're wasting somebody's time doing that. I mean, I get it. Some retailers probably want that, but I don't want it that way. I was not the only one who didn't want it that way. See the buzz about the new Lamy nib with no slit and laser etched capillary channeling. And I said, yeah, I heard. I saw that a month or so ago, huh? So I haven't even looked at the brand. I haven't even looked at the new pen. Ever heard of the Tondel brand of fountain pen? Never heard of that. Never heard of that. But yeah, I'll take a look at it later, I guess. The pine looks like a good color. I mean, I can kind of see it through the box, and the pictures make it look great. But I mean, come on. And then they had. I ordered lead for pencils, .5 and .7. I ordered a dozen of each, right? and they just threw it willy-nilly into two bags. You think they were like 0.7 in one bag, 0.5 in another? No. Like, it wasn't even like 6 and 6. It was like 3 and 9 in one bag and 9 and 3 in the other. Like, seriously? Come on, people. But a Tondel lever filler. Tondel? Tondel. Are you sure that's what it says? Or is it what do you think it says? Because you can't read it. Where is it made? You are. Okay. I mean, I believe you. You know, but I also see a lot of stuff on eBay, like, you know, hey, I bought a Sturbro. Someone in the warehouse wanted to make sure you had extra fun. Like, I am not in the mood for this kind of nonsense. I not in the mood. Lisa was here for lunch and it came and I opened it up and she was like, yeah, I gotta go. I don't need to be here for this. And she was out of here like lickety split, gone. It just and I don't know. I don't understand how bigger companies handle it. I mean, it's just little old me here. I'm not their biggest account, but if I had 10 times the order, I would be like furious. Anyway, it says USA and lever. Tondel. I'm not familiar with Tondel. No idea. All right, what do we got cooking today? I guess I'm going to move some things around here first. I guess we got 4 pens done yesterday, and we got a couple of redos. $45. Are Lamy too big to care? Before Uniball was always, it was great. It was really great. I mean, they've got the wholesaler retailer connection was down pat. Now it's like I don't even know. I mean, I sort of have a rep, but not really. You email them and you never hear back from them, so I don't know. What am I going to do? Nothing. Sit here and repair pens. Okay. Today I am going to do a couple of things. Let's switch to the bench cam. All right. We'll do this. We'll get this guy fired up. I've got a Skyline over in another tray. We will get this Skyline put together. And actually, we'll probably test those right away and then just move them out. And then we can try to assemble this and see how this is going to work. But this was giving us a lot of grief yesterday because the nib unit was getting stuck in the hood. And when you tried to screw it down, it was no good. And then this thing just didn't fill. So it writes okay. Yeah, it writes just fine. But it doesn't do you any good if it doesn't hold ink. And then first and foremost, picture sent. It's on the one on the right. Okay, I gotta take a look at this here a second. Tondel. It kind of looks like a I don't know. It kind of looks like an Arnold. I don't know. I've got an Edison nib I need to test. So I've got it in my my old Herald in copper flake. Y'all remember these? This is a great pen. It's not the right trim for the pen, but I needed a Yovo stick to shove it in. So I've got a medium nib I need to try first off. So we're gonna do that, and then we'll see where we get from there. See where my patience level is. And then I've got those Esterbrook nibs I want to test. So I got enough work to do. I just... Ooh la la, you just commissioned an Edison pen, huh, Plain Water? Nice. Or you're commissioning it because you like the copper flake. Oops. Shit. This was a pen. I had a spare gold nib sitting around, and then when Edison decided they weren't going to distribute gold nibs to... You did it before you saw the copper flake, but now you have to do another. Yeah, it's a great color. It's really a great color. I always like this pen a lot. That's why it's fun, I guess. Anyway, I don't remember what I was saying before that. Oh, I had a spare gold nib, and I didn't, they weren't gonna sell them anymore, and I thought, well, maybe I'll just get, but it was rhodium, and I thought, well, maybe I'll just get a non-rhodium gold nib for this particular pen. And I set it up with Brian. He says, yeah, sure, no problem. You can swap it with me. I'll see you in Ohio at the Columbus show. This was last November. And I promptly forgot to bring the stinking thing. And then we talked about it on the podcast one day, and it sold like during the podcast. So I'm out of gold nib. I can always get one. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, this pen was probably discontinued in a long time. It was one of the first 3 options available in the Herald when we became a dealer back in 2010, 2011, something like that. Actually, I don't think they did all that many. I'm trying to think what were there were 3 lines. There was the Collier, the Herald, and the Hudson. And the Hudson went away, which was fine. It didn't sell that way. I think it was available in black, green, and red. And the Herald was available in copper flake. and 2 other colors. Now, Comet is much later. Much later, yeah. No, the Hudson, which was a flat top. It wasn't too exciting. Sales didn't, sales kind of matched up with a not too exciting look to it. I mean, I think he still makes them, but they're signature line only. I'm trying to think what the other colors were in the Herald. The Collier was antique marble, persimmon swirl. There was a silver marble. That might have been it. There sometimes was a 4th color. Available in the Collier, but yeah, for the life of me, I can't think of what the other 2 colors in the Herald were. I didn't think they were worthy. I tell you, it was a big day when I got when Lisa and I looked at each other. We said, "Hey, we should get some testers." One of my first expensive modern pens. I used it so much I wore the I wore the plating right off the nib, and when I closed the store, I put a new nib in it. I had it for, I don't know, 10 years, 14 years, something like that. The Blue Grotto Menlo you have on the site now is so tempting. Yeah, that's pretty too. His blue pens were always really nice. The Nighthawk, I always liked that one. The Beaumont and the I can never remember the damn name of them. But the blue Beaumont is nice. River's Edge is beautiful, beautiful material. Oh my God. You always end up buying an Edison for your friend whenever you see them set up at a show, and they are very well made. If I collected modern, I'd be very tempted. Yeah. I mean, it's. I was explaining this to a client the other day. We were talking about Yovo sticks, and I said, you could tell the difference. You could tell the difference between, and not to knock anybody who's trying, because if you're trying to make a pen, you're trying to get in the business. Props to you, really. This is not an easy business. You're not going to get rich. You absolutely are not going to get rich doing this. Is it maybe the most satisfying job you ever had? It could be. Very well could be. If you're trying and your goal is to learn and get better, then I support you in that endeavor. But you can tell when people make pens that it's not quite there. The common thing I see is it's a clipless pen. Well, they haven't figured out how to make a clip. How to put the clip in here, and even if it's a 2-part cap, they haven't figured out that clip option yet. The threading, how it meets the cap meets the body, the posting. That's the other one. You got to make a pen that caps, posts, and has a clip is not easy. It is not easy. And Brian Gray does that extremely well. He just really makes a nice pen. That's a nice pen. Maybe I'll put that out here on the bench, and we'll see what we got cooking this week. Maybe I'll use that. All right, so this nib is good. I can ship that out. There. All right. We're gonna assemble some pens, and then we'll ink them up. Yeah, so this is going to need to be sections need to be sealed on that one for sure. Need some heat. Yeah, that looks good. And last but not least, I got another Skyline over here. If you were at the Ohio Pen Show last November, there was a slew of these Moiré Skylines. I mean, you couldn't swing a dead cat and not hit a tray of these things. I was very, very tempted. I mean, you could have almost got a whole collection. Okay. We'll start with the Waterman. Yeah, we definitely got to seal this up, but it writes good, then we're good to go. It's very extra fine. Holy cow, is an extra fine. Yeah, it's an accountant nib. We have a Waterman desk base coming in green, and along with the purchase is a Schaefer desk base that needs some work on it. Waterman desk base in green. Everybody's buying desk bases now. Yeah, if you really like. Extra fine. Well, that's it. Not my cup of tea, though. Had a fun trip down memory lane yesterday. Many years ago, I used to keep track of every pen purchase that I made. Had it in a spreadsheet. Um, and I dug that up yesterday to look for something. To see when I bought a particular pen. And I started looking through it. And what a nerd I was. I mean, I had columns I had percentages of ballpoints and pencils and fountain pens and percentage of Esterbrooks versus non-Esterbrooks. And cup of tea is a good idea. You better make that happen. But I was looking through there, and to my surprise, and I have a weird memory. I have a very hard time with names and faces. But I can usually remember every pen that I've ever bought. I mean, I don't know if that's just what that is, but I can remember those kinds of things, where I bought it. I bought this, whether or not it was off of eBay or I bought it at a pen show or I bought it, at this antique store or whatever. And I'm going through there and I'm like, I had a column for sellers. So it was real fun to see some of the old names of people that some of them are unfortunately no longer with us, that I bought pens from or no longer in the business or who have really, this spreadsheet goes back 25 years. And I had my grandparents in there. They gave me a bunch of pens, and I'm thinking, oh snap! I don't remember that. Like, I don't know if they found them at a rummage sale or a garage sale or something, and then gave them to me for Christmas, or if they found them. I don't think they were pens that they used. I don't know. Like, holy, I totally forgot about them. I may very well have sold them off, which is kind of depressing. But yeah, it's no wonder I stopped doing it. It was just like, there's columns for everything that you can imagine. A little something in this nib. You did that for the first year you collected. You wish you had kept it up. I mean, I did it for 7 years, and then when I got divorced, my now ex-wife was like, "Well, you've got this spreadsheet with all your pens in it." Gosh, I never make that mistake again. But I also gave each one a unique 8-digit alphanumeric code, and I mean, it was each pen got a little hang tag with a code on it. So this looks like a fine stub. It was just too much work. It was, you were doing barcoded tags like you did with your movie collection back then? Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, I just can't, Your dad's third marriage, married 2 years, took 3 years to get divorced. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a funny thing. I don't know. She knew I had the list, and stupid me, I had what I thought would be, a range of values in there, and I mean, those were under like the absolute best of circumstances, and so she thought I had, $100,000 worth of pens, and that was not the case. And so she actually at one point offered to take the entire collection, put it over on her. I should have done that. But I had a couple of nice pieces that would be impossible to reacquire. So barcoded tags, though, man, The other thing was, when I had them in the pen chest, I wanted to be able to open the chest and be able to look at them and not be, all I could see were tags. It was not visually appealing to me. The tags were twice the size of the pens. Oh my goodness. You threw the last one away a year or two ago? Every once in a while, I come across one of the old tags. And it's funny because I really thought it through. I thought, what kind of system can I set up so that I don't have to, because coming from a database ERP background, I said, well, if we're going to come up with a numbering system, I don't want to have to run into an issue down the road. So I came up with a 4-digit alphabetical code to distinguish the maker. Estabrook was ESTE, Parker was PRKR, and then that followed a 4-digit code, because then that gave me, it's possible 10,000 pens per manufacturer, and there was no way I was going to get 10,000 pens of any one given manufacturer. Sounds like you need to hire me to catalog your collection. I work for cheap. I really do. Housing, some food, What I really wanted was a database. Yes, and good beer. I wanted a database that you could insert multiple images, and I know those do exist. I have a client who's a Linux developer, and he's got a database on his phone. He comes in and I say, "Hey, don't you have a Mandarin Duofold Junior?" Well, no. And then he goes to his phone and he pulls up the picture. It's a Mandarin Lady Duofold. Okay, great. Don't you have a black Estabrook dollar pen? Well, yes. It's got an extra fine nib, right? Well, let me check. Yep, there it is. 1550. You're correct. You're gonna pay me in pens? Yeah, I mean that works too. That's a great idea. I take payment in pens. It's gotta be the right pens though. Are many big names making obliques these days? Not a lot. Who is making them? Is Aurora still making them? Not a lot of companies. Mont Blanc is, I think. Oh, well, that's no good. Early on, when you started using a database, you could add pictures with the entry. It was cumbersome to do, so you stopped doing it. Yeah. Your brother and you had a great idea for cross-platform database software, but you decided it would be a waste of money to develop it. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately. And that's the problem because, you know, like some of the ones that came out were like very platform dependent. All right, this is not happening. That nib is not right. See you tomorrow. Got to go and get your yearly blood test. All right. Good luck. Take care. Thanks, Gary. So this nib doesn't sit in right, which tells me it's probably not the right nib. This should have a Skyline nib in it, and it just doesn't. The solutions come to mind to a leaking section in a Parker 45. Where is it leaking? Is it leaking at the top where the nib unit screws in? At the joint to the body? That is the weirdest place for it to leak. So here's a 45. So you're saying it's leaking down here. It's leaking above the clutch ring? Yes. Well, if it's leaking there, then there's got to be a crack. Or there's a crack. There's a crack here in the threads that's making its way underneath the clutch ring because this just comes off and then coming out here. My guess is it's probably cracked in the thread area. Because you might see it, although I mean, you know, you might not see it. It's like on a 21. Sometimes you can't always see the crack until you ink it up. If it's in this area, you might be able to seal it up somehow. Or the ring is the wrong way. I don't think that's going to matter. If the ring is in the wrong way, it's not going to, I mean, you don't even have to have the ring on there. It's not going to affect ink getting out of the converter or the cartridge onto the body. If there's ink, because, I mean, that nipple is pretty far down. So if it's on here, there's got to be a crack somewhere. Yeah, I don't think the ring is really gonna play into that. Check for a crack. Use a light. Run your fingernail over it. Thankfully, it's an easy, really pretty easy. I mean, you just get it. Find a new one. Unfortunately, is the answer that I have to give you. Right along the threads. Okay, yeah. Because ink will find, you know, water will find the path of least resistance. It doesn't care. I mean, it almost cares that you got a brand new white shirt. It wants to show you it cares. So this nib is no good. Which is too bad because this is really a nice pen. I just don't think it's not long enough. So yeah, it's the wrong nib. We gotta find nib. No other option. We're gonna find a good nib. And maybe one on a pen that's I can justify scrapping the nib for. Oh, that ain't it. That's a possibility. It's a destroyed, not a destroyed nib, but apparently lots of options. That might be a real good one right there. So many of these are extra fine or fine. That's a good option. Well, let's see what that gives us. That want to work. Now if I just get it out so I can clean it up. Just turn it into one expensive repair. That's what I'm telling you. But I think it's worth it on this pen. I mean, if you got a non-working pen that's missing parts and the nib doesn't work, it's not worth anything. Not worth much. It's a parts pen is what it is. All right, we'll clean this up. Put that back in there. Hopefully can get this off my bench this week. Would be super awesome. Which reminds me, I got another pen I got to bring out here to test. It's a modern Dupont Line-D. really an underrated pen in my opinion, except that they're extremely expensive. I had a used one come in the shop. On consignment, so it is beautiful. Oh, it's it is something else. I even briefly had a discussion with Lisa about buying it. Which was not met with immediate negative reaction. They're big pens and they're heavy too, so they're not for everybody, but a little bit of schmutz on this nib. I'm just trying to polish it up here. Just 12,000 grit mesh. It's anything more and you're really gonna. My microgloss has been diluted from 5 to somewhere, maybe a 3. I accidentally left it open and it evaporated. And all right. All right, let's try this again. All right, so it went in a little bit different way than the old nib, so we're just gonna pull this out and reline this up. Ducking out, Juicy. All right, have a good night. All right, that looks better. The other one, it was so small that it was lifting off the feed when I pressed down on it. And I'm actually shocked it actually stayed in place. Ow. Let's try this again. That's better. You have a Skyline you think you need a feed for, it may have been replaced with the demi-sized feed because it sits way too far in and need to pull it and compare it with calipers. Yeah, that probably is what happened, huh? It makes you wonder what some of these early guys were doing. They just, they just slapped stuff together and like they didn't notice that right away. The pen didn't immediately leak, or did they didn't have the right part and they just threw it in there and then that's where it ended up in the drawer or what? All right, I can live with that. What am I going to do with this little guy? No idea. That's the same thing. They put a nib that was way too small in. And you can't push the feedback any further. They almost would have been better off putting in a demi-sized feed because then it might actually fit. At least you could shove it in. But they didn't. All right, we're going to seal that up. It makes a lot more noise than the other one. You have another full size with a factory stub that's a demi-size nib. It doesn't look too small to pen until you compare it to another. Yeah. There you go. Boy, that's heavy. Holy cow. All right. Yeah, that was an expensive repair. But you do what you got to do on a nice set like that. Comes with the matching pencil. And the box. So this. And this we're going to seal up. Or anybody likes a extra fine Waterman account nib, man. I got the nib for you. Holy smokes. I don't mind accountant nibs, but when they're accountant nibs and they're extra fine, just to keep it in place, I'm going to screw the cap on, but I want to make sure that the process of screwing the cap didn't actually twist it, because that would suck. All right. That gives me that. That is all that nonsense. This is this. That's 311. All right. Hang on. I'm gonna go get a pen here for a minute. Just a second. These are some of the most stunning Stunning pens ever. Line-D large. Honey amber color. Look at that guilloche lacquer work over the top. It just sparkles. Nice ribbed section. 14 karat nib. You wish they were lighter in weight. They look even nicer in person. Yeah, and it was. I remember having a conversation one day with my Dupont rep, and I said, you know what? They make a Line-D medium. They make a pen that's just smaller than this. That's perfect. It's the Line-D medium. However, the one thing it doesn't have is it doesn't have this fluted section on it. And they don't always come in all the fancy colors. But it's smaller, so therefore this brass barrel doesn't weigh as much. You can post it nicely. They're really, really, really great. They're really the perfect size pen, I think. The problem is they're almost as expensive as the large. And so I complained. I complained to my rep. I said, hey, listen, you got to make more Line-D mediums. The Line-D large is nice. It's great, but it's so heavy. It's so big. When you post it, it's kind of ridiculous. It's to the arrogant extreme almost. And I said, okay. And like later that afternoon, it was at a show. Later that afternoon, he says, hey, I just found out we got a Line-D medium, and I forget what it was. Blue marble or something like that. And I'm like, oh, great. How much is it? And it was like $1,000. I was like, you have got to be kidding me. I need a Line-D medium that's like $650 tops. Retail. So, of course I had asked for it, so guess what? I had to buy it. I didn't have to buy it, but I told him, I said, you get some Line-D mediums, I'll buy them. And then he did. And I'm like, I was not expecting a Line-D medium that was $1,000 or $1,200. It was ridiculous. It was out of this world. Now, with the fluted section, sometimes you run into an issue with ink getting in there, but now this is supposed to be a fine nib. It's kind of closer to a medium. I mean, unposted, it's okay. I do like the fact that they snap onto post. They are designed to spin around kind of loosely so that they don't scratch the lacquer. But posted, it's kind of, I mean, you'd have to, the balance point is right here. And only a model who's never used a pen before holds a pen like this. I mean, ooh la la. Nice clip, really nice clip. Okay, yeah, it's kind of I could see maybe on a less absorbent paper it might be. More like a fine. I really like the new Line-D larges that have the new, was it the flame nib? Y'all seen that? That's just outstanding. But again, I mean, they're priced higher than Mont Blanc. $1,400, $1,500 for those. I mean, even at dealer cost, I'm like, I'd be sleeping on the couch for a long time. You gonna run some errands? All right. Good luck with the pens. Thanks. Maybe someday I use one of those will come across my bench and I'll snap it up. But this is a beautiful color. Beautiful, beautiful color. So if you're in the market for a Line-D large, this guy's going up probably on Friday. Barely used. Hey, Colin. How you doing? I gotta do this on old school because I don't think it fits in my spinner. I don't really want to spin around a Dupont Line-D. You ready for the weekend? I am so screwed up having had Monday off because I was sick. That tomorrow's Thursday already, which is my of course my sarcasm here implied here. My favorite day of the week, even more so to the fact that I have to do physical therapy at 7:15 in the morning. Are you early? No, I think you're late, actually. Or are you early? Well, Lisa didn't get me anything for Valentine's Day other than a cold, so maybe this would make up for it. I gotta do this the old-fashioned way. Actually, I gotta check. I don't think it fits in my spinner. I don't think I want to put it in there. Oh, it does fit. Jeez. Can't believe I'm thinking about doing this. You don't think you have this color? Boy, no matter how much I... Maybe even a desk set. Expecting a green snorkel set, sentinel set tomorrow. I wasn't paying attention and realized yesterday the matching pencil is from a crest set. Hey, that's all right. Crests are great. I have shaken this out and run it through the spinner, and I still have ink in here. Just going to sit it in the ultrasonic. Well, these feeds are sure good. No matter what you do, you can't get all the ink out of it. Tell you what, I missed out on a really great deal. Lisa and I were chatting last night, and there was somebody who had some kind of had some barrister bookcases, but they were kind of modern. They were like they almost looked like they were aluminum instead of wood, and they had 10 of them available, and they wanted $100 a piece for them. And I had mentioned them to her a couple nights ago, and I said, well, you know what? These are. I mean, that's a stupid price. It's a really, really good price. They're normally $100 a section, so $300, and we'll let that dry out. And I said, you know what? If I would get 2 of those, but I don't have a car, and it was almost 2 hours away, one way. And she says to me, she says, well, you email them now. So if they come apart, we can fit 2 of those in the car. Like, oh shit! I went back to looking. Yeah, all 10 of them are sold. You still need to find a junker snorkel with a good barrel for your desk set. That shouldn't be too hard. What color was it again? It's not like they're in short supply. Oh, that's right. Yeah, black, you're going to mix it up. Yeah, black would be super easy. Oh, hang on. Hello? Lisa came in. I didn't hear her say it's me and scared the bejesus out of me because I didn't see her. Well, I wonder if there's a crack in this collector. Guess not. eBay is not the place to look. Yeah, I mean, your pen show would be a better bet for sure. Somebody will have one in a junk box, I would think. Or you give me a minute and I'll look and see if I got one. Got an appointment? All right. Well, this really doesn't want to go in very easily. I'm half tempted to push it in and then thread it on. Everybody's running errands today. Let's just see what happens if I do that. So there, now it's in place. Lined up pretty good. I guess that's the way to do it, huh? Except the feed didn't. Of course, the problem is going to be getting this back in place. When I take it off to seal the hood. No, yeah, nice looking green base. Okay. Yeah, so pull the nib right out. Okay. Tricky part is getting this lined up perfectly. Because you kind of only want to have one shot at it. It was a little bit off before, but I knew I had to take it off, so. All right, fingers crossed. Sometimes your shellac acts a little bit like a lubricant, so if it's tough getting it on without, sometimes it'll be easier when you put the shellac on there. 59 Lady Schaefer's clog, been running in an ultrasonic all day, no dice. The conical nib screwed off, but the feed must be glued. Didn't want to take it out, but well. Now I could screw this down a little bit more, but when I get to that point, the collector doesn't want to spin inside the connector here. So there's a little bit of wiggle room here on the clutch. I mean, it's half a millimeter, but when you tighten this down, it's okay. So maybe you just need more coffee. I think that's a good troubleshooting step for most any problem. So I think that is going to do it for that guy. Now I'm going to go look at some snorkel parts. What would be the correct word for the piece that the modern trumpet attaches to? Definitely not this one. I don't know. Are you talking about the threaded portion that attaches to the base? Oh, that's... That barrel is butchered. Universal sign of a cracked part. It's cracked too. I don't know what you call that part. Call it the stem that goes into the base part. I'm sure I've got a manual with the technical name of that somewhere, but that's broken, that's broken, that's broken. Oh, but what is this? This is not right. That's a That's a touchdown is what that is. And so is that. Those are both touchdown barrels. All right, well. Oh, that ain't gonna happen. All right. This is one of life's most frustrating moments is when you got a touchdown or a snorkel that doesn't fill properly. Particularly touchdowns, I just don't. Like it has suction, but it's not getting suction. Yeah. Sure, that little escape valve hole is clear. Yeah, I think this is. Have absolutely no blue barrels. Although I probably should check and make sure there's no touchdown barrels in here. One thing that's supposed to suck, but but it won't. Yeah. I wish they would have used the same barrels. It sure would have made our lives easier. Hmm. Now remember this guy? This was a fun experiment last year. Oh, that's a project for another day. Yeah, no barrels, no extra barrels. All right, so on that blue anyway. Let's think this through. And we make it a different color. I'm betting it's the barrel. This cap only works. Yeah, okay. So. Just for fun. I don't have a new O-ring in this, but well, there you go. The barrel. Let's make it black, shall we? Oh, we're going to take this apart. Take the O-ring out. So now we've replaced. The only thing that's original on this pen is the cap. At this point. But in the end, we managed to make a pen out of parts. So I guess that's good. And the only reason this pen was in the bin is because the white dot on the cap was chipped. That O-ring actually seemed good. I wonder if I might have replaced it at some point, but it is cheap insurance to put a new one in. Doing this thing where it's really hard to get on. Let's see if this will. Well, it seems like it works. Let's try it again. Yeah, that'll work. Fine point nib. Clean that out, spin it out, and that's all she wrote. If you don't use a two bucket system for cleaning your pens, you really ought to try it. It really really works out well. Because especially if you use something like Waterman, after 3 or 4 cycles, when you put it into the clear cup, you can really see it's not too dirty. So new section, new barrel, new nib unit. I think the sack protector is original. I think we reused that. New touchdown tube. New sack. Yeah, I just said that. Now we can seal it up and we're good to go. Get this out of the way first. Hey, Jason, you've been watching in the background during meetings today? Good for you. Singing it to the man. Just don't get caught. I'm running out of steam here today, so I think after we get this guy done, I think that might be it for the day for me. Get that ready first. Let's get these things out of my way here. Almost hate to say it. I can't wait to the day that this jar is completely gone, because the new jar that I've got for our own section sealant is really, really nice. At least you can get down to the bottom of things. Kind of dangerous doing that over a Dupont, isn't it? You just roll it over the top. That way you don't end up accidentally, because it doesn't dry. It remains sticky. I probably should have done it the other way, but all right. And that. Heat up my cap. never put it on all the way tight. All right. Okay, so we got pretty much everything cleared up. We were, oh, you know what? There's another one thing I want to do. I'm going to Parker Slim Fold here. I really want to get the nib out of it. It's the nib is damaged. I've been soaking it all day. Let's see if I got another nib for it. Just for fun. I doubt I do, but and sometimes you end up with parts and then you know you have something and then you can't remember where you put it. But you don't have enough of a certain model to justify giving it its own bag. And then every once in a while you find the parts. So this is a rough VS, but we got a good nib. It's an ugly section. It's an ugly barrel. Socket holder. Yeah, that sounds about right, huh? Okay. Barrel unscrews. We got a J-bar. This would be a good project. Start this tomorrow, maybe. I would polish this snot out of this barrel and this section. Given my history with these sections, I wouldn't. It's too bad that this blue is a better color than this gray, but the cap is nice. The nib looks great. Nice and straight. Yeah, let's do this one tomorrow. Well, I didn't find parts for this, but I thought I had this other slim folds, but I guess not. That'll go in that bag. That's the miscellaneous English and whatever bag. All right, so there's that. And I wanted to look at this real quickly. This is a barrel for a modeled hard rubber Lincoln. Sans clip. No nib. But I might need this barrel for another project. It's a National Pen Products Company pen. That was easy enough. C-bar's in the barrel at a wrong angle. This is a much more complicated, much more complicated bar than I thought it was going to be. There's another piece inside the barrel. Get it. It's getting hung up at the end of the lever. And the end of the lever has a railing, which this slides into. And it looks like there's a little notch in there that hooks into this hole here. And on top of it, the whole lever is twisted. So this is really going to be a This may not be worth my time. Let's see if this can work. Okay. Well, the bar is attached. Okay, that's looking better. Okay, I have to bring the other pen in. This is heavily oxidized. We'll have to see if it's even going to work for the situation here. The other barrel's got a crack in it. This imprint is very faint on here. But I am going to soak this nib unit. Oh, this came out, so that's good. Soak that. Now, I'll have to take this pressure bar out, but I just wanted to see if this was going to clean that up. So we'll continue this one tomorrow. We'll start on this guy for sure. And I'll find some other things to work on, but I think I'm going to call it for the day. A little bit shorter day today. I'm still recovering from my cold, although it's considerably better, but I can tell it's 4:30 and I'm done. And I got to try to save some energy to get some cycling in tonight. Watch some Olympics. And we'll go from there. So, yeah, we'll find something to do tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday, yeah. So we'll see you at 1 tomorrow, a little bit earlier on Thursday, and then we'll go from there. So have a great evening. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Be kind, be well, and we'll catch you tomorrow, all right? Take care. See you later. Bye.